Hey everyone, Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and in this video we're taking a look at the Borla Touring Axleback exhaust with polished tips, fitting 2018 and newer 2-liter JL Wranglers. This system is perfect for the 2-liter JL owner who logs a lot of miles behind the wheel. This is going to provide you some additional sound, a great tone, and cool good looks. Volume-wise, we're going to give this a 2 out of 5 on our loudness meter. While it will provide a noticeable difference versus your stock system, this is rather subdued and it's not going to grate your nerves or annoy your neighbors. Such is the curse of the 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. They make a ton of power, but they often don't sound like much in their factory form. Between the muffler and the turbo, the exhaust sound is usually very quiet. And going to most other aftermarket exhaust systems can make them simply too loud. Borla, though, has the solution right here. As you heard from the clips at the beginning of the video, this touring system gives your JL just a bit more attitude, but not too much. It's going to allow for some additional volume and a smooth, deeper tone out of the pipes, definitely an improvement versus stock. But Borla doesn't make you compromise either. They include their trademarked polyphonic harmonizing technology, which utilizes different lengths of pipe and different perforations within the muffler to cancel out any drone or dissonant frequencies, meaning that you don't get any drone at any RPM or in any gear. Now that's going to make for a good sound and an overall pleasant driving experience. And while you will hear this more than your standard exhaust, even inside of the cabin, it's not going to be too loud, and you can still enjoy a conversation or your favorite song. Now this is an Axleback system, so it will replace the stock muffler and tip, giving you instead these cool dual polish tips. These are going to sit a bit lower than your stock setup, so just keep that in mind if you're hitting some more difficult trails, but it just makes the rear end of your JL look a bit more mean and focused. And who doesn't love a good dual exhaust, right? Construction, as we've come to expect from Borla, is top-notch. Everything here is made using 2.75-inch tubing into the muffler and 2.5-inch tubing out to the tips. You get maximum flow and power from that piping, and this is all T304 grade stainless steel, and everything is mandrel bent too. The tips are also T304 stainless, and they feature that slash-cut dual wall design, so like the rest of the system, they are really going to save off rust and corrosion and last you quite some time. Pricing comes in at about $900, making this a decidedly premium option. Now that does put it up there with the most expensive Axlebacks. Not quite all the way there, but it is well worth the investment. The material quality, the build quality, and Borla's engineering here are definitely worth the money if you're looking for the best that you can get. Installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should only take you about 1 hour to complete. Now, since this is an Axleback, it's a pretty darn simple job. And as you see it right here is how it comes out of the box. It's all one piece. It's just this and the clamp that you're gonna need, which is included in the box. So everything is gonna bolt up using your factory exhaust hanger locations and the included clamp, so you don't need to modify anything on your Jeep. With that, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process.
The tools you'll need for this project are an impact gun, a ratchet, a 13mm socket, a long extension, and a 15mm socket. Hi everyone, today we're installing an exhaust on our Wrangler, so let's get started with the uninstall of the stock exhaust first. All right, first thing we need to do is get our muffler disconnected from the isolators. And we've got one right over here on the driver's side, right at the top of the muffler, and we've got another one on the passenger side in the same location. So we're going to be using our large pry bar to get up in here and between the isolator and the frame and just pry that to the inside of the vehicle. Until it slides off of the hanger. Now we've got one side off, we'll go over to the passenger side now and get that one off. Now with our isolators removed, we can go ahead and loosen up this clamp right over the axle using our 15mm socket. Now with that clamp loosened up, we can go ahead and remove our muffler. Just work it back and forth as we're pulling it back. And get it out of the way. Now, depending on your situation, you may find it easier to remove these hangers from the frame rails. And to do that, you're going to need a 13mm socket to remove this bolt here at the bottom, and then another one that goes in from the front towards the rear. So we'll go ahead and use our 13mm socket to take those off. And now you can repeat that process for the other side. All right, now we're ready to install our new exhaust. First thing we're going to do is put our clamp on, making sure, of course, that we've had access to the nut from underneath to be able to tighten that up. Now, if you also removed the exhaust hangers here from the frame, you'll need to transfer them over from the OEM system. Now, we've already put ours on here. Now we can go ahead and slide our exhaust over our existing tailpipe that goes over the axle. Now you want to make sure that the slot on the new exhaust goes over the stud that protrudes from the stock system. Now once that's in place, we can go ahead and install the bolts for our hangers and get everything tightened up. And we'll install our first 13mm bolt on the passenger side to help support this while we do the rest of the bolts. We'll get the one that goes in the side of the frame, and now we've got the bolt that goes up top. Now once you've got those started, we can do the same thing for the driver's side. All right, now we'll tighten these bolts down with our 13mm socket. And do the same thing for the other side. And finally, we'll tighten down our clamp using our 15mm socket. Now the only thing to make sure of is that the clamp is towards the end of the new exhaust system. That way it gets the best clamping ability. Now one last thing to do now that we've got everything all buttoned up, make sure that you get a clean cloth and some rubbing alcohol and wipe down the entire exhaust system, especially any of the polished pieces. That way, any grease or oil or dirt that was on your hands will not be transferred into the system once it gets heated up to operating temperature. And that wraps up our review and install of the Borla Touring Axleback exhaust with polished tips for your 18 and newer 2-liter Jeep Wrangler JL. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Wrangler, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.